Right, here we go, guys. What we're going to do today is I'm going to run over a quick build for my Barbarian. Just going to do, try and break it down quickly for you guys, just so you to understand a bit. I'll probably do a quick run just to show you how it works, and we'll see how it goes. Right, okay, so what we're going to do is I'm currently playing a Barbarian, right? Ignore this legendary count at the top. I was just from the stream before. Okay, so we play a Barbarian. That's my Barbarian. Now, going into patch 2.4, Season 5... well, no, not Season 5 yet. Season 5's tomorrow. But PTR, the 2.4 patch is out now. And with it, it's brought a few different changes, a load of new builds and stuff, a load of different things you can try out, actually, which is awesome. But I'm going to go over quickly this build in particular, which is the Raikor's Immortal Kings. I don't really know what the build's called. I'm just going to call it the modified Raikor's build, I'm going to say. Really simple to get the stuff, because majority of people that play patch 2.4, if you're on your standard characters rather than seasonal, you already have that shit anyway, especially if you're a Barbarian to start. So how we're going to do it is I'm going to just do a quick run through with the gear and items, and then the skills. So start with the gear, and the paragons of course as well. Okay, so starting with the gear, you're going to need 5 piece of Mortal Kings. You're going to need 3 piece of Raikors, Focus, Restraint. You don't really need the Hellfire. I wouldn't recommend the Hellfire. You need some more survivability. And then you're going to need some of them. Not Dexterity ones. I'm fully aware that that's a Dexterity one. However, it's the only ones I've got. So, I've got some Strength ones, but they're not as good as them. So I'm using them for the time being. Okay, so the way this build works, right? So you've got your Immortal Kings. Oh, we'll go through the cube as well, actually. Let's show you the cube, just so you know why I've got all this shit on and stuff. So, Canai's cube, we've got Vile Wards, Ring of Royal Grandeur, and Standoff. So, Standoff, well, as you already know, Raikor's build, right, with the 4-piece set. Bear in mind I'm only wearing 3, but because of the Ring of Grandeur, what that does, it reduces the required set pieces for the set bonuses, yeah? So, instead of 4, for the 4 set, you only need 3 with the Royal Grandeur equipped, okay? So, I use the Raikor's Burden. You can really mix and match these up depending on what's better, really. You don't have to have a stat. The only Immortal Kings that you 100% need is that one. But other than that, you're pretty much good to go. So, 3 pieces of Raikors I've got is the Burden, which is the shoulders, the heart, and I've got all resistance in them because you will struggle to survive with this build sometimes because of the resistance to elements in general. So you need to make sure that is that's quite high, okay? Cooldowns, for obvious reasons, because you're going to be smashing about a lot, so you need cooldowns. And you've got more resistance to all, Vitality, Strength, Life per second, Vitality, Strength, Furious Charge, Vitality, Strength, Crit Hit Chance. And then going on... Oh no, sorry, these are just... okay, Raikor's, going back to Raikor's, sorry. Okay, yeah, so the 2-piece gives you... when you use a Furious Charge, it refunds a charge if it hits only one enemy. So if you're only hitting one enemy, it's going to refund. So if you're fighting a boss, it's bam, 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 and you just keep going and going and going, and it keeps recharging it. So you're pretty much safe to go. Then it gets, with the 4-piece set with the Royal Grandeur equipped as well, you get the Furious Charge, gains the effect of every room and deals 300% extra damage. So you're doing a shit ton more damage with Furious Charge. Not only that, it gains the effect of every single rune. So I have the Battering Ram on as the standard rune because I have fire damage. I don't know if that even makes a difference, but I presume it will, so that's the one I use, right? Then going on to the Immortal King side of the things, right? So there's the Raikors I've gone over, but the Immortal King side, right? So it's pretty standard stuff that you need. I could probably do with changing up a little bit on certain stuff. However, it's a pretty decent Immortal King's Boulder Breaker that I've got. But so the 2 set piece of that gives you the Call of the Ancients last until they die, which is it's my boys here, which damage mitigation and stuff. It's really good. So it acts like a unity. You don't use unity anymore, so you use Call of the Ancients together as one, which will take off some of the damage. We'll go into skills a bit later on. Then you've got reduce the cooldown of Wrath of the Berserker and Call of the Ancients by 3 seconds for every 10 Fury you spend with an attack. So you've got a Fury spender now of Ancient Spear, and that is insane. Okay, so 6-piece, while both Wrath and Call of Ancients is active, it's 250% extra damage. So you're looking at a shit ton of extra damage there, to be fair, and it's insane damage, right? Then going into the focus and restraint, for obvious reasons, you're going to be using an ancient spear, so that's going to proc one, and then you're going to use furious charge, you'll proc the other, and then you gain an extra 100% extra damage. So bam, bam, bam. Right. Then going on to the wrists, it's the ancient Parathan defenders. So I like the idea with it, fire skills, because you're using fire, so you might as well. These are not, like I say, the best ones, but however, each stunned enemy with 25 yards reduces your damage taken by 9%. That can go up to 12, which would be better. So when you're using battering ram, you're hitting them and knocking them back, and they are then stunned. So, and not only that, so we'll go into the gems after this as well. So you got that. Then the Hellfire amulet, the only one I've got at the moment. The Kaleidoscope one that gets rid of poison damage is the best one to have, I presume. But you've got your critical hit chance increased, strength, fire skills. I gain Ruthless perk, so I've got Ruthless perk already. So you'll see it when I open my skills up in a minute. You won't see the Ruthless perk in there. That's because it's already on there, okay? So that's all sorted, yeah? Now, as far as gems go, you're obviously going to want Bane of Stricken. So each time you hit an enemy, increase the damage it takes from your attacks. So if you're on a boss and you're going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, you're going to be hitting more and more and more. Then you gain the 25% increased damage against bosses and Rift Guardians. That's just with the Bane of Stricken over 25. Then moving on to the Bane of the Trapped, increases damage against enemies under the effect of control impairing effects. So you're always going to be stunning them. And plus this gains an aura which reduces their movement speed, so that's a movement impairing, control impairing. So you're always going to have 33%. Well, it's not 33, I think, at first. You've got to rank it up. I've ranked it up to 60 right now. It's 33%. So you take more damage again. Then we're going to go to the Esoteric Alteration. So that gives you a bit more damage reduction, which is what you need for this build. While below half health, your resistance goes up by 75% on all, apart from physical. Cold, fire, lightning, poison, arcane. Yeah, but you've got the non-physical damage. No, that's non. Oh, okay. You don't get any like sort of physical reduction, but you'll be okay. They don't tend to hit you. It's mostly the elements that get you. That's what I find. So there's the gear gone over, the gems that I use and why, and then go to standoff. Right. So these are. We'll just go over the cube. You can't see it, but because of my camera. However, on the first one, it's called standoff. It's a legendary polearm. And what it does is it's a Furious Charge, deals increased damage equal to 250% of your bonus movement speed. Right? So you're going to be running fast anyway with the skills that I've got on, okay? And not only that, you've got movement speed on your boots. Paragons go into, like... I've got a lot of Paragons, so basically everything is full. Movement speed, all strength. You could go Vitality if you were struggling. Offensive, I put crit hit damage, chance, and cooldown reduction all full first, and then attack speed last. Life regeneration is the last thing I've gone in. Resist all, obviously, first. And then you've got, like, your utility. I think I went area damage full first, but it's not really... I didn't really know which one to go first. But luckily I had enough Paragon points, so I just banged it all in, and I gold find last. Okay, so going back to Canai's cube. The second one, Vile Wards, the shoulders, yeah? Furious Charge deals 35% increased damage to every enemy hit while charging. The more enemies you hit, the more damage you do. Simple. Then Ring of Royal Grandeur, so reduces the number of items needed for set bonuses, 1 to a minimum of 2. In brackets, that was as well. By 1 to a minimum of 2. So you need at least 2 of the items to get the bonus, right? So there's that. That's all sorted, right? Now we're going to go into the skill side of it so you guys know how to do it if you want to run this build. Potions, just so you know, I don't have any favourite. To be honest, I don't think... Let me have a quick look. I think I've got a few... In fact, the Resist All is probably the best one. Yeah, the Resist All's a good one. I'll keep the Resist All one. I should have changed that earlier. Right, so going into the skill side of things, we're going to go straight in on it, right? What I like to do, this is my routine, so like this is how I play my Barbarian, so I have Furious Charge in the place it is. Other people like it different, but this is what you should run. So Ancient Spear with Boulder Toss, and what that will do is 25 plus all remaining Fury, yeah? So you throw a giant boulder that expends all remaining Fury to deal 20% damage to every point of Fury expended to enemies within 9 yards of the impact location. So you throw it out, bam, it uses all your Fury, and it's 20% damage to every point of Fury expended. So if you've got quite a bit of Fury, so if I'm looking at a full 132, it's 20% of 20% for every point. So that's 132 times 20. Yeah, that's how much that damage will do. Now, remember, when you use all your fury and that's all gone, you'll what was it on the skills here? Where is it? Yeah. So that helps to reduce your Wrath of the Berserker and Call of the Ancients by 3 seconds for every 10 fury you spend, because that will use all your fury at once. So if you have a full fury bar and you're struggling without Wrath of the Berserker, you bang that once and then boom, it's back up more or less. You can normally get, like, say, a few of them off, bam, bam, and then you throw it, and then you just keep doing it that way, sort of thing. And that way you're proccing Restraint and Focus, and you're doing that, right? Okay, so then you've got Furious Charge with Battering Ram. Obviously, with the build that we're using, we gain everything, so you get the increased damage as fire. Recharge time is reduced by 2 seconds for every enemy hit. Generate 10 additional Fury for each enemy hit while charging. So that's why you get so much energy, because of stamina, Fury, and then you can just keep banging out the boulder toss. All enemies hit are frozen, and then you've got store up to 3 charges of Furious Charge, so you've got constant Furious Charge, more or less. If you get a good run, you can just go bam, 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 and it will not stop, and it's fucking sweet. So there's the main two that I like to have on my left and right click. Then we're going into defensive, so obviously Sprint and Marathon, and that gives you an increased 40% sprint speed with, 30 and 40. I don't know if those calculate together or it just moves it up to... Oh, it increases the movement speed. So I imagine it's just 40. So it's an extra 40%. So as you know, where is it? No. There's a... Oh yeah, sorry, that's it. It's in the Canai's Cube. So the Canai's Cube, you've got Furious Charge deals damage equal to 250% of your bonus movement speed. When you use Marathon, you're going to get 40%. So it's increasing the damage again, right? Because it's that's your base movement speed. With that, boom, you're going to be doing more damage. Battle Rage. So you've got it costs 20 Fury. Enter a Rage, which increases your damage by 10%. Criticals, blah blah blah. Criticals cause explosions. So to nearby enemies. So it's, as you're smashing through tons and tons of enemies that are exploding everywhere, it's crazy. It's crazy shit. Things go mad. That's just like a solid. You just make sure you keep that up when you're running it. So then you've got Call of the Ancients together as one. Now together as one, they just it's like how Unity works, yeah. So 50% of all damage dealt to you is instead divided evenly between the Ancients. Now remember, with this, Call of the Ancients last until they die. So they don't disappear, so they stay up quite a lot. They take a lot of damage. They normally don't die, and if they die, you can just press it again, and they're back up because your cooldown's gone. You know what I mean? So you're pretty much solid. With that as well, you've got Wrath of the Berserker Insanity. So with the Insanity, you get crit chance, attack speed, dodge speed, and then the most important, movement speed, 20%. Now you're going to gain more from that standoff. You're going to get more again because you got your movement speed up. So that and sprint together is 60% extra on top of the 250% that it gives you for each whatever it is above. And then you've got obviously your paragons and stuff like that, which increase it again. So it's pretty shit hot, man. It's pretty shit hot. Now, obviously, when you're in Wrath, you need to make sure your Call of the Ancients are up. Or if you've got Call of the Ancients up, you need to make sure you keep Wrath up. Just for that 250% increased damage overall. So it's fucking amazing, man. Works really good. Then go into passive skills, right? Passive skills, I like to have Nerves of Steel because it can be squishy at times if you're in a sticky place, especially if you're trying to push grifts. Brawler, as long as there's 3 enemies around you, your damage is increased by 28%. Increase strength by 1% for 8 seconds after killing or assisting killing an enemy. As you're driving through, you're going to be killing tons. That's pretty much up. And you deal 25% while you're near maximum. And you're normally near maximum all the time. But obviously, when you're using Ancient Spear and Furious Charge, you want to make sure that your focus and restraint are proccing. So you need to make sure that just keep your eye on the buff bar. If like your focus is up or your restraint's up, make sure your focus is up with it. And then as soon as you see one of them drop, just make sure you get just left click, get the Ancient Spear tossed, and then carry on. It's simple as that. Simple as that. Make sure these are all up and them are all up, right? A lot of people will have Ruthless in the passives instead of one of these. And what Ruthless does is you deal 40% extra damage while enemies are below 30% health. Really useful, but because I've already got it in that, I don't need it on there. But I'd probably change it, more than likely for Brawler, Just because even if there's 3 enemies around, you get 20% extra. But if you're twatting everything and everything's on lower health, you hit harder. So I'd probably switch out for Brawler. Right, so that's my build, guys. That's like that's how I'm going. So I will show you just a quick brief Nephilim Rift. I'm not going to do it all, but I'll just show you how I would run it. For an example, I'm still quite new to this build, so I'm still a bit struggling with it. However, so you want to get the Call of Ancients up, and then you want to get yourself up like this, right? You want to get some Fury up, and when that's up, make sure they're all at the bottom 4 are like glowing yellow. And then all you really need to do, yeah, is so you get your ring here, you get your focus, yeah. So we know focus is up. Okay, so then your focus and restraint should be proc now. Make sure you call the Ancients. Oh, that's quite cool. So Call the Ancients. Sorry, Wrath of the Berserker. If you're using this Ancient Spear, it will refresh a lot faster than you would expect. So you're pretty quick as well. Obviously, I'm not doing this great because I've only just started this build today, but I thought I'd show you guys how it runs and how I would run it if especially if you're new to the build as well. I mean, there's probably better ways to do it, but I'm pretty sure I've got it all the way down to a T, more or less. I mean, there's not much more I can do here. But that's it, guys. So that's the basis of it. If you want to leave like comments and stuff and tell me how I can improve it, or ask me more questions if you don't feel I've gone into enough detail, just let me know. But guys, like I say, I'm going to be streaming this season 5 a lot over on Twitch. I do a lot of Twitch streaming and stuff like that. So if you guys want to pop in and check out that'd be great. And don't forget to like and subscribe and all that good stuff. I'd really appreciate it. So guys, thanks and peace.